Yo guys, what is going on? Lucky here, and today I have a very different kind of video than usual for you, because this amazing company called Torro approached me and asked me if I wanted to review one of their high-class radio control tanks. So this also means that if you are already into radio control tanks and you maybe want to add another one to your collection, then I would highly suggest that you stick around until the end of this video, because in that case I have a little bonus for you. But if you are totally unfamiliar with Torro and their RC tanks, then feel free to stick around as well, because in the video I will be in-depth reviewing one of their higher class RC tanks, the M41 Walker Bulldog. So now without further ado, let's get straight into it. So at first, when the package arrived, I was actually very surprised with how big the box alone actually was. So when I'm going to talk about the box and its contents, you can enjoy a clip of me trying to very gently unbox this thing. Alright, so after the first two layers of card box, I finally managed to dig my way into the main box of this tank, which you can see right here. This box basically contains a manual, which usually no one reads anyway, and a massive brick of styrofoam containing a smaller box filled with BBs, which is the ammunition of this thing. And yes, it can also shoot, but I'll talk more on that later. And the styrofoam piece also contained a somewhat larger box filled with some other accessories, which I will talk about later as well. And then underneath the piece of styrofoam we find yet another piece of styrofoam containing the 2000 mAh LiPo battery, the wall adapter to charge the LiPo, the remote controller, and of course the tank itself. So that was pretty much all that the package contained. But now, before you get to see this bad boy in action, I first need to mention that the tank out of the box looks pretty ugly. I'll basically just put a picture on how it looked before on the screen right now. So you have to make it pretty yourself with the detail parts that are in the box as well. And to be honest, I have absolutely zero experience with building model kits and stuff like that. So therefore I found it rather tricky to put all those detail parts on the right place, since there was no instruction guide on where to put all these parts. So I had to figure it out by myself by looking at reference pictures and reference videos. But once you find the right spot, you can just slot the parts into the designated holes, which sometimes wasn't as easy as I would like it to be. But anyways, 3 hours, 2 broken and super glued parts, and 10 bruised fingers later, I completed its makeover, and oh boy, look at this. Isn't it a beauty? As you can see now, the level of detail is simply just insane. Literally, if you compare it to the real M41 Walker Bulldog, you can barely see any differences apart from maybe the different paint/sticker placements. Which brings me to my second point, that it also comes with some stickers that you can stick on there wherever you want, to give your tank a bit of your own style. It also has full metal tracks and 2 working LED lights. One blue one on the front functioning as a headlight, and a red one on the gun mantlet functioning as an indicator for when the gun is about to fire. It also comes with a commander figure, so if you want to, you can open the commander's hatch and stick him right in there, but personally I like it way better when the hatch is closed. So now with that said, let's get into some real action. But of course, in order to get some real action, you of course need to charge the remote controller and the tank itself. To charge the remote controller, it's very easy. You simply slot 6 AA batteries in there, close the lid, and the controller should be good to go. Then the tank itself runs on a 2000 mAh LiPo battery, which can be recharged with the included wall adapter. It takes about 2 hours to fully charge the battery, and that gives you roughly about 30 minutes of non-stop action, which is actually quite good considering how many features this thing actually has. So once you have foreseen the remote controller and the tank itself with power, we are ready to see the Bulldog in action. So the only thing that's left to do is flip the Bulldog up its belly and flick the on-off switch to on. Also flick on the controller. So once you have turned on the tank and the remote, the first step you need to do is hit the top left flick switch on the remote controller in order to start controlling it. This switch simply functions as a so-called engine start-stop button. So once you flip it, the tank starts up and makes a very loud engine sound, which you can also actually turn louder or quieter with the switch on the belly as well. But overall, it's just pretty cool, and from there on you can actually start controlling this steel beast. So basically, the left analog stick is mainly used to turn the turret, which is by the way not fully traversable. I think it is only 355 degrees reversible, which I personally do not find that big of a problem. And if you move that same analog stick down, it controls the gun elevation or depression, and if you move the left analog stick upwards, it will fire the gun, but I'll be covering the gun on its own later in the video. Then moving on to the right analog stick, this stick basically controls the tank's movement. So flick it up to go forwards, flick it down to go backwards, and flick it left and right to turn the tank. Then the only button that is left to cover is the right flick switch on top of the controller, which triggers a machine gun fire sound effect, which is just a little nice bonus feature. So now with the controls covered, let's see this thing in action. So here it is, the first shot of me driving it over hard and flat terrain, and unsurprisingly, it blazes over it like a rocket. And that was also a thing that I was highly surprised about, is how fast this thing actually is when its battery is fully charged. But according to the manual, it shouldn't have any problems with all sorts of terrain. So here is a test on soft terrain like grass or mud, and as you can see, it does require some extra effort, but it can still move through it without any major struggles. And honestly, I was very surprised with the overall capabilities of this tank as well, since as I already told you guys, it barely shows any struggles. And then at the final test drive, I drove this thing around through some gravel, and yet again it just powers straight through it. And even if you drive down a step, for example right here, because of the real suspension system, it absorbs the shock of this roughly 10 cm fall quite well. So overall, I'm actually very satisfied with the movement capabilities of this Walker Bulldog. But we are not quite done yet, because this machine can do way more than just driving around. So let's go and move on to the smoke feature. And yes, you heard me right, this thing can also blow smoke out of its exhaust to make it even more realistic. So in order to use the smoke system, you first need to turn it on. You can do that by simply moving the red switch on the belly to the right. Then after that, you get this bowl of smoking liquid, which is included into the box. Then you mount the designated hose onto it and put the hose all the way through the very back end of the exhaust pipe. Then you just squeeze a few drops of smoking liquid into both exhaust pipes, and once you have done that, you can basically turn on the tank, give it a couple seconds, and watch the magic happen. And just look at this, guys. It looks so damn cool. You know, stuff like this just makes it feel so much more realistic. So props to Torro for including features like this. So now we move on to the last, but definitely not least feature, which is the fully functioning gun. As you have already seen, the gun can move up and down, but it can also fire actual BB bullets. So in order to set up the gun, you open a smaller hatch on the top of the turret and you simply flick the switch to on. Once you have done that, you can fill it up with the included bag of BBs. So you simply drop a few of them and they roll down into a shaft waiting to be fired. So once the gun has been turned on and loaded, we are ready to see it in action. Also in the box they included a little cardboard target, so I used that one to demonstrate my gun on. So from there on, you just turn on the tank and move the left analog stick up and it will fire those BBs one by one. And as you can see, I'm not the best at aiming this thing, but eventually I do manage to hit the target a few times. So after that, I moved a bit further away, and to my surprise, the BBs were still hitting the target, even at a roughly 10-meter distance, which is rather impressive. So let's take a look at the target to see where it hit. So as you can see right here, I did manage to hit a couple of times, but obviously it could not penetrate the target. But just to give you guys an idea about how hard this thing actually hits, I'm going to compare it to my M1911 airsoft replica, which fires around 200 FPS. So I loaded it up with the same BBs that the tank uses, and I took a couple of shots. And as you can see right here, where the tank could barely scratch the target, the M1911 just flies straight through them. So if you get hit by the Bulldog's gun, it will in no way hurt as much than if you get hit by an airsoft replica, which I find a good thing, especially if you drive it around children. But even though it might not fire that fast, I still highly recommend you to wear eye protection while firing this gun, because you never know, a BB can fly weird directions. And of course, you don't want to live the rest of your life with one eye. So always wear eye protection while playing with this thing. So guys, that basically wraps it up for the RC M41 Walker Bulldog review. Overall, I think it's a great product, but I also think they are quite pricey, with this model coming in at roughly 230 euros. But if you decide to buy something, you can use the discount code LUCKY2018 at checkout for 20 euros off any order above 150 euros. So that kind of softens up the heavy price tag. But anyways, if you are really into RC control tanks, I would definitely recommend to buy them from Toro, since their quality and level of detail is simply just insane. And if you were not into RC tanks, and I sparked your interest in them with this video, then feel free to check out Torro-Shop. I leave the link to the website and the link to the particular tank that I reviewed in the description down below, together with the bonus code. And I also want to thank them so much for giving me the opportunity to review one of their products. It will sure get a nice place in my office. So now we have officially come to the end of this video. So again, you can find all the links and other information about Toro in the description down below. So for now guys, I just hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll catch you guys later.